Hello and welcome to the third video in our series on data management in Excel. This is Kim Kieswetter, and in this video, I will walk you through the process of cleaning your data and recoding variables. This video was produced as part of the EvalFest project, with funding from the National Science Foundation's AZEL program. Please note that I'm going to be working in a PC version of Excel for this tutorial. If you're using a Mac version, you may note slight differences in both look and function between the two versions. Let's get started. If you watched the previous video in this series, I introduced the concept of cleaning your data. This process ensures your data is as accurate and complete as possible before beginning analysis. Now that you've organized your database and know how to filter and isolate variables, I'm going to walk you through the basics of how to clean your data. For this example, I'm working with a large data set from science festivals across the US. The gender variable here is located in row FL, and it allowed respondents to write in their answer. Because of this, we want to check what responses most people wrote in so we can see what kind of data we're working with. We're going to do this by clicking on the column to highlight it. Then we're going to make sure we're on the Home tab of the dashboard before clicking the Sort and Filter button. I'm going to select Sort A to Z. A box appears asking if we want to expand our selection to include the whole database or keep our current selection. Make sure you've selected to expand to the whole database so that you keep all of your row data matching. We can now see that our data is organized alphabetically from A to Z. We want to scroll through the responses to identify the most common answers. In this data set, we have 4: F, female, M, and male. However, there are obviously some other answers in here we will want to review to see what we have going on. First, I'm going to fix any obvious typos. We can see here in rows 210 through 212 that we have some obvious misspellings of the response female. So I'm going to fix these so we can capture those in our data analysis and they don't end up getting excluded. You're going to want to repeat this process as you review the entire column of the data you are cleaning. In addition to the typos we just corrected, you'll also see some other responses that people gave in this data set. These type of responses will require more of a judgment call on your part. For purposes of this study, I'm going to choose to exclude any additional labels like Batman or cat. However, depending on your research goals, you might consider including some or all of the other labels in an other category. Depending on the size of your data set, this step can be tedious. However, it's also very valuable to the process and worth the time on the front end to capture the most thorough and accurate data during the analysis phase. Now that we know what sort of data we're working with, I'm going to show you how to recode a text variable into numbers. This step is important if you're going to be importing your database into a statistical software package like SPSS. First, I'm going to highlight the column, then right-click and select Insert to create a new blank column. I'm going to label this new column Gender Coded. Next, we are going to tell Excel what number to change each of these gender labels in column FM into for our new recoded gender column FL. We're going to write the formula in column FL, row 2, and then copy it down the column when we're finished. I ultimately want to turn all the F's and females into 1s and all the M's and males into 2s for my analysis. I'm going to choose to make all other labels blank in my recode. To do this, I'm going to use the following syntax that I've just pasted into the box at the top. You want to begin your formula with an equal sign and an if to signal the start of the formula for Excel. First, use an open parentheses symbol and tell Excel to look next door at the gender variable in column FM row 2, written out as FM2. I want to tell Excel that if it's an F to make it a 1, if it's a female to make it a 1, if it's an M to make it a 2, and if it's a male to make it a 2. Lastly, I'm going to use this set of apostrophes around a space to let Excel know I want everything else to be blank. I have 4 open parentheses, 1, 2, 3, 4 in this formula, so I need 4 to close it off. Note that you won't be using any spaces in the formula except the one you use to designate the blanks. Now I'm going to hit Enter, And then I'm going to take this little box and pull it down, and you'll see in the column that all of my 1s and 2s begin to populate. That concludes our third video in our Data Management in Excel series. This is Kim, signing off.